Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1976's Drive-In Massacre. This is 1976's Drive-In Massacre. I gotta be honest with you folks, I have loved this movie for a very, very long time, but it was only available on some garbage, like double featured uh, $1 DVD, and you find them in bargain basement DVD pits, and it just looked terrible, and I could never really see much, but I loved the movie anyway. So when I found out that Severin was actually putting this out on Blu-ray, and that's what I'm holding right now, I purchased this on diabolicdvd.com, and this is something special right here, folks. This is Drive-In Massacre. Look at that cover, and there's a reversible cover in here as well. This is the back of the Blu-ray. I'm so excited. 1976's Drive-In Massacre. It says on the front, "You'll pay to get in and pray to get out." Let's get into this movie right here. This is a 74-minute slice of 1976. This movie takes you to the drive-in. This movie takes you to carnivals. Um, this is a movie of cop mystery drama. This is a movie of horror and a killer on the loose. And this is a movie that takes place at an actual looking drive-in theater, even in the snack shop of the drive-in theater, and within the vehicles and the various people at the drive-in theater. This movie has characters that are interesting, weird, well acted, and existing in their own bizarre world. Let's get into Drive-In Massacre, because this is a movie that I've loved for a while, and this is actually taken from the negative, it says on here, and they released this on DVD as well. And they said that the negative was discovered in the ruins of the Skyview Drive-In movie theater near Oxnard. Well, this movie, it's filmed in California, I believe, and it just has that real awesome 1976 California vibe, if you know what I'm saying. You can see some palm trees. So let's get into this movie here. First and foremost, let's look at the music. The music in this film, we have some rock pieces near the beginning. Not really rock, but like that 70s music. 70s low budget type music, and it just sounds great. We even have carnival music in this movie. We even have this awesome montage near the climax of the film that has very unique sound design, mixing carnival music, and and some dialogue that you heard throughout the film in reverb, I believe. So it's just it was very unique. But the majority of the music sounds like it was done on kind of a Casio keyboard, or very, very early keyboard or synthesizer, and it's very low budget, very bare bones on the keys and on the sounds and on the bleeps and the buzzes. And I gotta tell you, it's awesome. And it has its own theme in that low budget type of nature, and it just has something really, really special, and it adds to the whole drive-in movie vibe, horror vibe, 70s vibe. I mean, how can you get locations like this, folks? I mean, we have the police station, and we have the drive-in theater, even the projection booth, the snack shop, the cars, like I said before. We even have this neighborhood and this home of a very strangely interesting man. This was always the one scene of the film, the one location of the film that I always remembered the most. And it's just very interesting. And you know what's so great about Drive-In Massacre is that if this is a film of characters, of interesting, unique, bizarre characters, from carnies to this crazy the drive-in theater manager, who is insane. I mean, from his dialogue to the way he acts, the way he dresses, he almost looks like he could have been some like kitschy preacher with this big weird cross around his neck and his suits. Everybody acts awesome. The acting in this film is just unreal. It's so great. Everybody sells it. And if the acting wasn't good, these characters would not be sold. There's this weird guy who cleans up at the drive-in who used to be a sword swallower. I mean, he's awesome. Everybody is so believable. Even the two cops and their kind of comically unique and stressful, tense relationship with each other. Great locations, all looking like real locations, and you really are feeling the drive-in experience with this movie. Um, Even, this is a film that even played off the fact that it was probably, that it was being shown in drive-in theaters. And at the end of the film, I'm not going to give anything away, but at the end of the film, it plays off of where this movie would be played, a la like Vincent Price's The Tingler. Okay. Um, Now, in terms of the violence of this film, I got to tell you, this is a film. The first kill in this movie is unbelievable. It should be in horror, like horror kill history. I mean, this is an unbelievably bloody and insane kill, and the rest of them are insane in their own rights, folks. There is gore in it. It's just it's kind of brutal. It's kind of has that mean spirited type of vibe. It has a shock vibe to it. You reminded me at times of some of the stuff that Eli Roth was doing in his Thanksgiving trailer for the Grindhouse movie, and just really wild and out there. And if this was low budget, which I know it was, these special effects freaking work. Now look at the opening title sequence. Look at the credits. Look at the names. Look at the people. It's very, very interesting. Even the group or the person that does the special effects for the film has an interesting title. Everything in all the names and everything are very, very interesting. But yes, we have violence, and this violence takes place at at the drive-in. I mean, there's such a unique concept to this film. I mean, there are other films at drive-ins that incorporate drive-ins, but this is, I would say, the penultimate for a drive-in film. The feel, the vibe, the atmosphere, and and in terms of the murders, they're just bloody, wild, and insane, and are sucker punches also at the same time. There's also some interesting stories as you go into the vehicles of various people at the drive-in. You get some interesting vibes, some interesting stories on these people's lives. So that was kind of cool, the drive-in and the sex at the drive-in. This is a film where this is a horror film where we don't know who the killer is. And as the viewer, you're trying to figure it out. We have red herrings. We have some really amazing red herrings in this film. But you're trying to figure that out. Now, in terms of the sexuality of the film, this is a film that has a sleazy vibe because you're at the drive-in and people are wanting to have sex. But we really only have one topless scene in the film. But the boobs of the girl is, they're pretty awesome. She looks great, and it's done really well. And if we're gonna have one topless scene, she would be the girl definitely to do it. And it just looks great. She looks great. Now we also have, though, a bunch of nude photos in this film in one of the locations. Centerfolds, everything. I mean, just a person, they're just all over the walls. And some very candidly sexual dialogue as well. And I got to tell you that there's some great uses of the word fuck in this movie that you would just not expect, possibly, because a lot of times people don't talk about it. 70s horror films didn't have the word fuck in it a lot. They weren't Tarantino films, but this film does have some fucks in it, and they're well done, and they're kind of shocking. In terms of this is a film that has it's feeling, it's vibe, and it's so freaking weird. I mean, in the storyline, we have this interesting connection between the carnival and carnies with the drive-in movie experience. And that is a very unique relationship. It's a very unique storyline. Now, I also have to tell you that George Buck Flower, I believe, co-wrote this film. Yes, he co-wrote the screenplay to this film. Now, you would know George Buck Flower as being like the penultimate, I think I'm using that word again, the penultimate exploitation king. He even did some very, very early, I think an adult film as well. I'm not actually having sex in it, but just being in it. But he's like, he shows up in everything, from Teen Lust, what I reviewed in this YouTube page, being the plumber. I mean, he was in Sorority Babes and the Slime Bolorama. He always kind of plays like these like creepy guys, these pervy guys. I think he was in Cheerleader Camp as well, that horror film at the cheerleader camp. This man has been everywhere, and he co-wrote this film, which is so cool, and he's in the film. Now, to make matters more crazy, his daughter, Verkina Flower, this is her first film. I believe it says introducing her. Now, you'll know Verkina Flower as the girl in the film that I reviewed in this YouTube page called Mag Wheels. Okay? Now, you'll also know her as somebody who, after she was also in a film called Summer Camp with Linnea Quigley, which I will be reviewing on this YouTube page in the future. Very unknown film. But she soon got out of acting, and she started to do like costumes. She did costumes on a bunch of films. One of them, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yes, it's so crazy to see her in here. And this film, when it's not at the drive-in, and one of the red herrings, it takes this other like crazy turn in the film where we wind up in a warehouse, and that's where we see um, some other characters in there that I might have mentioned previously in this review, but it takes this crazy turn, and there's these crazy family dynamics in that little mini storyline or red herring or truth or reality, in the warehouse. And it's a really bizarre turn, it's a really bizarre twist, and it's so cool. And it's disturbing in the mini storyline of that little twist. This is Drive-In Massacre. From the drive-in to a warehouse to a weird home and a neighborhood and a chase and a dead dog even. Yeah, a dead dog. And why would you have the, oh man, and a sword? What the hell's going on here? And a sword collection? This is, and a cool carnival too. This is 1976's Drive-In Massacre. There's really no film like this one. If you're looking for a piece of the 70s horror, unknown slasher, and at the same time kitschy, weird, bizarre characters. I mean, there's no characters like the characters in this film. You'll just be mesmerized. This film's only 74 minutes long, and you'll just be mesmerized by the dialogue. I find the dialogue so fascinating in this film, and so weird and interesting because the acting is so good and the characters are so freaking bizarre. Yes. Here it is, Drive-In Massacre, 1976. Thank you so much for watching the Tenru Bizarre YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like 1976's Drive-In Massacre. Thank you, and good night.